we have windows, we have doors, and we have... Hey dude, where's my floors? We're back. Matt Ravenhook on July 24th, 2016 with a report from the Phoenix Rising Project. Things have been happening. We've been working hard. Been a lot of struggle, but we've kept at it, and now the walls are level with the tops of window frames. We have windows, we have door frames, and no, I don't have the floor in yet, but I've done some prep work. I may not look at it like it, but I have, and I'll show you what the prep work is. But as you can see, a lot of things have happened. It looks a lot different from the last time I shot a video for this project. We have now, we don't have a bunch of bags. We actually have a building, see? We have rooms. We have big utility door. We have doors all through. We have a real room now, a bedroom, complete with its own acoustics. And we have a living room, kitchen, and a bathroom, or what will be a bathroom. All with nice tall walls now. Only a couple layers more to go and the walls will be completely finished. I don't mean finished, I mean the construction of the walls will be finished. A lot of things have happened, so sit back and enjoy. I got a lot of stuff to show you. We're going to check out what's been happening since our last update. Enjoy. Behold my latest acquisition, and by far my favorite. Portable scaffolding. So much better, easier, and safer than a ladder. And $200 from Home Depot, an absolute steal. I know enough about welding and metalwork to know I couldn't make this thing for 200 bucks, which probably means some poor Chinaman was paid 50 cents a day with no bathroom breaks to build it, but what are you gonna do? That's the life. Anyway, finalizing the bottom layer of the wall, putting the last couple of bags in, and pegging the joints with rebar. Using 5-foot lengths, which will go through and tie the rebar to the foundation below and into the ground. Now, driving in these rebar stakes, there's a few things to keep in mind. Number one, make sure that as much as possible it's going through whole bags all the way down. And make sure, of course, that the stake's going pretty plumb. Now when you first start it out, the hammering's not that hard. Just guide it with your hand and lightly tap it until you get further down. First few bags, it's not that hard. Always keep the hammer under control. Don't swing wildly. You don't want to lose control. Now as you go down further, the hammering begins in earnest. Now, what I do, I use a pair of vice grips to hold the rebar and keep my hand away. Because as you're hammering harder and your arms get more tired and you're hitting a small surface, you don't want to miss the top of that rebar and take out your wrist. Building days are over. For the same reason, pay attention to your legs and don't swing wildly. No matter how hard it gets, keep the hammer under control. You don't want to swing wildly, miss that thing, have the hammer come down and take out a kneecap. Once again, your building days are over. You can always tell when you've gone through the regular earth bags and start hitting the soil cement bags below. That's when it really starts getting tough. That soil cement is one tough material. Why aren't we using this stuff more often, man? That is some strong stuff. I don't have to stop and rest as much because fortunately I'm an ambidextrous hammer swinger. So when my right arm gets tired, I can switch to my left, give my right some time to rest up, and then back and forth. Now you may notice I'm talking about safety and things, and I'm standing here doing this, and I'm not wearing safety glasses or anything. That's because I'm a lazy hypocrite who likes to play things a little dangerously. I accept that there's inherent risk in doing any of this stuff. Never said do what I do, said do as I say. And just remember, you don't need to get too overboard about it. Nothing in this world is 100% safe. People who've never done anything dangerous before in their life, never lifted anything heavier than a remote, have keeled over from heart attacks in the middle of their living room and had strokes while squatting on the toilet. As someone said, fear of danger doesn't keep you from dying. It only keeps you from living. Nothing is 100% safe. Everything that I show in these videos, if you choose to duplicate it, you have to accept that there is inherent risk and do everything at your own risk. But, as the old saying goes, no risk, no reward. Finish it off. See, I told you. See? Lapse in concentration. Talking instead of working. Now I think right now I've punched through the last of the bags in the bottom and I'm tying it to the rubble trench foundation below, which is exactly what I want. There it is. Peg joint. Double tough. There it is. Once all the joints are pegged, we're ready for doors, windows, and floors. I'm going to show you a few little details of construction here. Take our first walk through our front door. First detail is starting at this height, we're installing mounting cleats. Now, of course, in your walls, you're going to want to put things. You're going to want to hang pictures, install shelving, light switches, all kinds of things. And these are going to help you to do that, to give you surfaces on the wall where you can drive in screws and attach things. As you can see, they just jam between the bags. You pack them down, and once they're in, they are in, man. They're solid. I'm going to take you over here real fast. I'm going to show you how to build these things. They're real easy. Here's one of the mounting cleats. It's real easy. All the measurements are the same. 8-inch 2x3. 2x4 is overkill. You can get 2x3. It's pretty much the same thing, and it's a lot cheaper, less than $2 a board. You can get 12 of these 8-inch lengths out of a board. Cut them up. 8 inches, and then the other part is just plywood. About 11/32. Good, durable, better than particle board. Particle board, as soon as the wood gets old, it's useless. But this is real good, and you just cut 8-inch squares, and then just cut each square in half diagonally. And then you simply take and you attach a 2x3 to the diagonal with 1 5/8 inch screws. Boom, boom, 2 of them. And then, this one hasn't done it yet, but it's real simple. You simply take these guys over here, They're 1.5-inch roofing nails, dirt cheap. You get a whole bunch of them in a box, and you simply take and you drive 4 of them into the plywood. I usually do 1, 2, so that there's 2 sticking out on one side, and then flip it over and drive 1, 2. So 2 one side, 2 the other side. That way you got 4 spikes, 2 sticking out each side, and then when you put them in between the bag, those 4 spikes bite into the bags on either side and firmly attach them in. Really simple, really clever, really good. We're going to use a modified version of this also to attach the window frames to the earth bags on the sides. We'll show you how to do that when we get to it. Real simple, slightly modified version. They just go in real fast, they'll hold real good. Now the mounting blocks for the windows are a little bit different. Had to cut them down a little bit. They're 7 inches. Everything's based on 7 instead of 8. And you attach them like that. But the principle is the same. The nails sticking out on each side. These, I drilled a couple of holes so that I can mount them to the window frames. Now, for the window mounts, you got to remember you have to make 2 opposite pairs like that, 1 for each side of the window. And they're going to go on this way. Mounted on the side of the window with the screws, those nails. I'm going to put it down so that they grab into the sandbag, and then the next sandbags are going to come up here, and they're going to be squeezed between the 2 sandbags and hold the windows in place. Now these window frames, they're going to have weight. There's going to be a couple of layers of earth bags on top pressing down. There's going to be weight on the side, so you want the frames nice and strong. And you want them to be strong so that they give strength to the wall rather than take away from it. So what I did was I doubled them. I made 2x3 frame for an inner frame, and that's the frame that actually holds the window. It's sized to the window so that the window just slides in. And then I simply put a 2x8 frame on the outside. Screwed them in. Screwed the frames to each other, screwed everything in real good, so they're nice, strong, stiff frames. They'll hold plenty of weight so that the windows won't have to hold weight, and you won't have to worry about broken glass or anything. Now the thing to keep in mind when you're designing your frames is to make sure that the cross pieces are on top of the verticals, because you want any weight that's bearing down to be borne by the verticals. You don't want it the other way, because otherwise, if these extended all the way up and were screwed into the cross pieces, any weight coming down would be borne by the fasteners. The fasteners aren't strong enough. You want the weight to be transferred to the verticals, and that's what I did both on the inner frame and the outer frame. On every frame, it's done the exact same way. Even these interior door frames here, which aren't designed as beefy, I don't need the interior 2x3 frame because they're not going to hold as much weight. But even so, this will be how they're oriented when they're installed. You always design it so that the cross pieces, when the weight presses down on them, they're resting on top of the verticals so that the weight is transferred to the verticals. That's the main thing you have to keep in mind. This is the front threshold. Now, in keeping with our theme of rising from the ashes, these concrete blocks are salvaged from the foundation of our old burned up house. And I brought them up here, and I leveled this one area and set all 3 of these blocks down so that they were nice and level. Now this threshold is going to be our leveling point when we start installing and leveling the floor. This is level. This is the lowest part of the house. This is the lowest part of the floor. And this is the point we're going to use as we move up and start leveling the floor. It's going to be referenced to this particular level spot, our fixed reference point to start from. And it's nice and firm. Good solid threshold. And It's elevated a little bit from the ground to avoid the problem that we might have, since this is the low part, of any runoff water that comes down here spilling into the house. This is elevated and acts like a dam. Now in the future, I'm going to install a porchway here that's going to be level with this, and it's all going to be elevated, which is going to protect the interior of the house from any runoff that might come down. I'm going to work all this area so that any runoff that might come down will be deflected away from the house, the foundations, and the entranceways. The idea of the cleats can be used many different ways. Like here, to install the doors, I just took the idea and modified it a little bit, extended it out, and sandwiched the plywood between the earth bags with the spikes inside. Made the door super secure, and this is just with one layer of earth bags on top of it. Once you get the whole wall on it, it ain't going anywhere. And we'll simply fill this gap with earth bags and plaster, especially this gap. That's what we're going to do to all the doors. The window cleats worked out just fine. Sandwiched them in. The windows are secure. Really super secure. They're not going anywhere. I much prefer screwing to nailing, forgive the pun. So in all my construction now, I'm using screws instead of nails. Screws have the advantage of snugging everything up. You don't have to hammer on things, especially when you're lining things up for level or square. If you have to hammer something in or pry something out, you're going to knock things out of alignment. Whereas on the other hand, with screws, like here, I put temporary braces in to hold the frames up until they get attached to the surrounding walls and things. And then, once they're in, I can simply unscrew them and remove the braces without disturbing the plumb or the level on anything, which is very important. And besides, nails aren't as strong anyway. Screws snug things together. Nails, when you drive them in, tend to drive things apart. And they don't have that grip, so that over time they work their way out. I'm a big believer in screws. Take the time, drill, use a cordless driver, and use screws. These windows and doors are designed and laid out in such a way so that we will have a 360-degree view all around the house. And that's for safety and security. No blind spots. From this window, we can see all this area. We can see if anybody's coming or anything. From the bathroom, we don't have the bathroom window installed yet because that's a much smaller window. We're going to have to go higher. But if the bathroom window, we'll be able to see the one blind spot that the other windows can't see right over there. And of course, you're going to have the entrance to the utility room where you'll have a great big wide view. And then the other windows, kitchen window, you can see the north. Bedroom window, you can see the back of the property, and then two windows in the living room so that I can see the entrance of my driveway, and I can see anyone who's coming up, and also from this window I can see anyone or anything that might be at my front door. Very important to install your house with a little bit of security, you know. This is a very safe area. I've never had any problems, but still, these are uncertain times. It always pays to be wise. And also, the lighting is good. The way these windows are laid out in the living room will have good southern exposure and southern light from the morning sun, which rises over there. And as it moves over, we'll have evening sun. 3 big windows in the living room, so the living room will have plenty of light. We'll have good northern exposure also from the kitchen window coming in. My favorite brand of cordless power tools, the Ryobi One Plus. Best system in the world. And happens to be the cheapest to boot, so can't go wrong with that. Get it at Home Depot. You can say the Phoenix Frizing Project endorses Ryobi One Plus power tools. It's the only power tool we use. Some who've been viewing my channel for a while might notice that I'm still using this old table to survive the fire from my last place built by my dad. Some may wonder why I didn't just go and buy one of them portable workbenches or something. And I should have. It's stupid, but number one, I get cheap at the worst possible times. And number two, I've kind of grown fond of it. I mean, survived the fire, absolutely terrible table, but it's tough. I don't have to worry about hurting it. And it's one of the only things I have left from my old man after the fire. I lost everything. And in a way, kind of makes it feel like I'm still building with him. Even though I'm glad I'm not. I definitely wouldn't be building this way. He'd be fascinated to see it. It never in a million years occurred to him to do it. My old man was great at building airplanes, which is what he did. He was shit at building anything else, especially building anything out of wood. Believe me, I know. I built 2 houses with this guy. So, you get the best of both worlds, get something with him. And I don't have to put up with him while I'm doing the building. I'll be my own boss. So, just a little glimpse into the thoughts that go on while you're working on a project like this. I know in my last video I promised to show floors, and we started working on it, but we realized that with our manpower and scheduling of things, there was simply no way that we could do both floors and walls at the same time. If we tried to do them both, it would slow us down. It either the walls would come to a standstill or the floors would come to a standstill. So we had to make a choice, and we realized that the walls were the biggest thing that required all of our labor. If we could all concentrate on doing it, we could get the walls done, and once we got the walls done, we can move on to other things. Trying to stop in mid-construction and deal with other things would have slowed us down too far. So, floors, God willing, you'll see next time, because that's one of the next things I'm going to work on. But once these walls are completely finished, and after I put the top, all we have to do now is put 2 more layers of bags on top, and then rebar again. We'll rebar the top layers of the walls and reinforce it at points throughout with rebar, and finish off the walls. Once we got the walls done, we're on to other things. So be patient, floors are coming. Meanwhile, while we've been doing all this wall building, I have managed to start accumulating some stuff for the other stuff. This barrel here is the first component of my rocket mass heater that I've accumulated. A gift from a friend of mine. Really am grateful for that. It's going to be put to good use. And I do have the cement for the floors. So as soon as I get to where I can install the floors, I have what I need, so we'll be moving on. There it is. July 24th, the wall's almost 100% completed. It should be completed by the end of the month. Then, we got a lot of things to do. Next, we have floors, roof, rocket mass heater. There's going to be a change. We're going to start seeing different stuff. It's not all going to be me and bags and stuff like that. We're going to start seeing some really interesting stuff. I have to put a question mark as to what's coming next, because I don't know exactly what order I'm going to tackle those things on. I think probably I'm going to have to get started laying the floors first, and then around the end of August, my vacation time and everything's coming up, I'm going to go through and I'm going to install the roofing, the basic roof. And while I'm doing all that, start putting things together and start designing my rocket mass heater. I'm so looking forward to what's happening next. There's going to be a change. We're going to move forward to doing different stuff. I can't wait to share it all with you. But there we are so far. We have a structure, and it's coming right along. So, I'm going to get back to work. Until next time, this is Matthew Ravenhook from South Central Oregon for the Phoenix Rising Project on July 24th, 2016. Signing off. God bless.